Yeah. Boxing aficionados. What's up? What's going on? Hey, yo, check this out. You know, many breakdown videos have been made about one of the biggest boxing events of the year, which is coming up tomorrow, pitting CANELO Alvarez against Caleb Plant. But, you know, quite frankly, I've decided to forgo that. I think it's a waste of time to try to break down that fight, and it's quite frankly unnecessary. We all know what's gonna happen, right? Caleb Plant is gonna end up getting hurt and getting stopped, whether it's early in the fight or middle of the fight or later on in the fight. Doesn't really matter. He's gonna get stopped. He's not on Canelo's level. So, breaking down that fight and the in and outs of the strategies that it might take for Caleb Plant to beat Canelo is futile and, quite frankly, stupid. And I don't like wasting my time on things that are not going to happen. So I'd rather focus on the event itself, right? And the steps that's leading up to this event, right? So I've heard a few comments on boxing Twitter, on Facebook pages, boxing pages, about this fight not being as big as it could be, lacking some buzz. You know, I would say that that's right, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I would say that people who feel that way have a point is because it's not a fight that's been talked about or that's being talked about by the casual fan or is eliciting water cooler conversation or conversation around the water cooler, taking place by people who might not usually talk about boxing, right? The people talking about this event are the same old, you know, the same old culprits, right? It's the same people that are always talking about any event that are talking about this event. So it's not really having the effect of, you know, like a Triple G Canelo, where you have people who don't normally talk about boxing come up to you and you know, ask you about an event that they might not know about because they know that you're into the sport. So, you know, who is this? You know, at least being inquisitive about the event. That's not having that kind of effect. So, you know, I want to get into why. So, here's the why. So, one half of the event is Canelo Alvarez, right? Face of boxing, man who's been in there with the best of the best, been around for at least the last 10 years, has been champion, now going on his third, he's been champion on his third weight class. Let's see, 54, 60, 68 and 75. So his fourth weight class, right? Canelo Alvarez is a 4-division champ and has actually dethroned some names. Kovalev, Triple G, the Chavez Jr. fight was a big fight. So he's a guy who's built quite a resume. Going up against an absolute nobody that nobody knows. He's an absolute nobody that nobody knows. Yes, I'm talking about Caleb Plant. So, what we have is an uneven scale. And when there's an uneven scale, people see the disparity. And most people are not going to get too interested in an event that's an obvious mismatch. An obvious, beat down getting ready to happen. In order for events to really build to a nice, lathery crescendo, you need some intrigue. You need some supposition. You need a what if. But there's no what if in this fight. Right? All there is Canelo Alvarez getting ready to beat somebody's ass. That's all there is. So, how could this have been remedied? This could have been remedied quite easily, right? This could have been remedied if the PBC and Al Haymon would have done its due diligence in building its fighters, right? And the way you build your fighter is by having them make fights. So what's happening with Caleb Plant is that there are some steps missing, right? There are obvious steps missing to this fight. He didn't earn it. And society knows it. The society at large knows it, right? That's why there's only boxing heads that are talking about this fight and really interested in this fight, right? If Caleb Plant would have earned this fight fully, right? Checked off all the boxes, dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, then people would have maybe had some more belief in it. He would surely have been better known. Now, you can't just say what I just said and then not give an example of what should have happened, right? So here it is. What should have happened, the roadmap to this fight for PBC to have built a credible opponent for Canelo, the roadmap to building a credible opponent for Canelo would have looked like a unified champion facing Canelo, right? Now, they could have done that. They could have done that, right? Right? They could have done that. They had David Benavidez and Caleb Plant in their stable. Well, if you want to be technical about it, they had David Benavidez available to them because of their relationship with Samson Lukowitz. And then they had Caleb Plant under their table, on their stable. So they had these two guys about 2 years ago, before David Benavidez decided to lose his weight on the scale. Lose his belt on the scale, and, blow that opportunity. And one of the reasons why he blew weight on the scale is because the PBC did not keep him busy enough. But that's neither here nor there, right? So they had both these gentlemen with straps. People asking for that fight. I remember people asking for that fight. Caleb Plant, David Benavidez. Going back and forth. There was a lot of interest between these two fighters on their drama that they were having. Right? A lot of internet buzz about it. You would think that a promoter would, a promoter worth their salt would take advantage of that situation and give the people what they want. No guesswork necessary. The people are asking in plain English for what they want. You as a promoter have gotten the guesswork taken out of it. Of the equation, of the mission, right? The people gave you an assignment to do. They want this. Give me that. They order. They're ready to go to your restaurant and order that plate. The PBC did not give the people what they want. What they wanted. Instead, they vacillated. David Benavidez lost his belt on a scale or whatever. One of his little drama shits. Unfocused things that he goes through. Caleb Plant then takes several steps backwards from the fight that got him the belt in the first place. So he had Uzcategui, incredible name. He was a champion. He didn't fight for a vacant belt. I'll give him credit for that. Uzcategui is a known fighter, not exactly a commodity, but he was a known fighter. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for the fact that he lost to Caleb Plant, Uzcategui would have unified against Zurdo Ramirez, which was what Top Rank had in mind. That's why they had given Uzcategui a fight on ESPN Plus prior to him getting the fight or having to defend against his mandatory, which was Caleb Plant. They gave Zanfer Promotion, I believe is the guy who has Uzcategui. They gave Uzcategui a fight, on ESPN Plus. They gave him a nice little payday with the agreement that you then go fight Plant, beat him, and come back and unify against Zurdo Ramirez. But Uzcategui lost to Plant. So, God always laughs at people's plans. Don't tell God your plans, because he's got his own, right? So, here it is. Now, Plant, having beaten Uzcategui, you would think he would take a Benavidez fight. If not Benavidez, right? Then certainly something on the same level as Uzcategui. Something, a credible name, a known name, somebody with some history, somebody that would build his, profile. But instead, he takes on some guy named Fag in Boots. Fag in Boots. I'm going to leave that right there. He takes on that guy with a funny name and no buzz and no history. And then, as if that wasn't enough, he continues a downward spiral by taking on Caleb Truax. Caleb Truax, whose likeness appears in the Museum of Modern History, right? Caleb Truax is as old as some of those Neanderthal men that get displayed there, right? Of the Museum of Natural History. So that's who he takes on, Caleb Truax. And if that wasn't bad enough, he goes 12 rounds with Caleb Truax. You got 2 million people tuning into that fight to see him go 12 rounds with a guy that he really should have disposed of. A guy that they took out of a nursing home, right? So that's who people are seeing. No impressive knockout, no moment, nothing that makes Joe Blow fans say, wow, I want to see Caleb Plant again, right? So now you didn't fight with Benavidez. You didn't unify with Benavidez. You take on Faggin Boots, and then you stink up the joint against Caleb Truax and almost get hurt there. Your credibility is now shot. But you hold on to that belt. You hold on to that belt. And now you get what you wanted. The $10 million to fight Canelo. But nobody really believes in you. And what you have is a big event. But is it as big as it could have been? Did you maximize your profit level of possibility, your profit possibility in this fight? Did the PBC come to the table with something credible, something appealing to the regular Joe Blow casual fan that makes all the difference between a 500,000 pay-per-view buys and 1 million pay-per-view buys? Is there any real buzz? Is there any water cooler talk around this fight? I'm afraid not. You dig? And it's a shame. The good part is that we're going to get a unification, and Canelo fans are Canelo fans. I saw the weigh-in today and the circus that is Canelo, and the outpouring of 5,000 Mexicans just supporting their man. But this is very, very one-sided. And the people that were there for Canelo were going to be there for Canelo anyway, right? Those were probably the same people that were there for Billy Joe Saunders, you know? When he fought Billy Joe Saunders, the Brit, you know? But this is an American commodity that's been on national television. You had a chance to really do something, and you blew it. Because that's just what the PBC does. You dig? Can you dig it, baby? Stop me if I'm lying. Just stop me if I'm lying. So, you know, some people caught feelings behind my little spin and my take on this. I don't really care. Doesn't really matter. You know, if you can disprove me, if you can debate me on my views, then feel free to do so. Leave a comment. I'm willing to listen if you got a point. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Next level boxing talk, motherfuckers. I'm out.